Hi, my name's Phil. I like to talk about politics, and after the news that the Prime Minister Boris Johnson failed to chair Cobra meetings in February, the question is being asked as to whether it was something he needed to do or not. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, then please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So first of all, what are Cobra meetings? So whenever there's a serious situation in the UK that needs a coordinated response, the government calls a Cobra meeting. Cobra stands for Cabinet Office Briefing Rooms. The A doesn't actually stand for anything, it's just there to make it look cooler. But on a serious note, it allows a senior minister to call a meeting involving the Cabinet Office of all involved agencies so that the problems and potential solutions can be discussed and the best possible response coordinated amongst all these groups. So, does the Prime Minister always need to attend Cobra meetings? Put like that, no, not every single one. However, when the Cobra meeting is set up to coordinate something of a national crisis, as is the case with the pandemic, then the Prime Minister should absolutely be chairing them. As one former diplomat put it, the Prime Minister's attendance or absence is an indicator of how seriously they are taking it. That Boris Johnson didn't attend the meetings in February means that they didn't consider it serious at the time. So the question as to whether or not Boris Johnson was justified in not attending, and we're not talking about with hindsight, we're talking about at the time, is really down to whether or not you believed the situation was serious in February. So if you believed back in February there was no reason to suppose that the coronavirus pandemic was a clear threat to the UK, despite some other countries taking extreme measures and the World Health Organization saying that this was a very serious situation for the whole world, then you would argue that he didn't need to attend. However, if you consider that the pandemic is an extremely serious crisis for the UK, and this was known back in February, and it was certainly told to us back in February, and nothing that has now happened wasn't predicted back at the time, then you would be of the view that Boris Johnson absolutely should have been chairing those meetings. Not only would it have kept him informed about the situation on the ground in this country, but decisions would have been more secure as they would have had the authority of the head of the British government himself. As an aside, given the arguments about whether or not Johnson should have attended, a number of people have been asked about prior behaviours of Prime Ministers. Nobody seems to be able to recall a time when the Prime Minister of the day did not attend a Cobra meeting for anything even close to this level of national emergency. The Chief Scientific Advisor, for example, from 2000-2007, Professor David King, said that the Prime Ministers during his time, Tony Blair and Gordon Brown, attended every single Cobra meeting. And they weren't particularly diligent in this regard. Even David Cameron, who is in my view a particularly lazy Prime Minister who often took his eye off the ball, he still attended Cobra meetings during emergencies, but Johnson didn't. In addition, it's worth remembering that he didn't even want to set up Cobra meetings at all to begin with. He refused to set one up for the floods that we had in January and delayed one for the coronavirus for a week before finally agreeing to it, at which point I just assumed that he would at least be attending. Turns out, couldn't actually be bothered. And when you consider something else that I was talking about yesterday, there is no minister appointed to deal with the coronavirus, and it does give you a strong impression that Boris Johnson is still not taking this crisis very seriously at all, when it has potentially caused him some serious danger. I mean, Brexit was given a whole department with a cabinet minister, a very senior minister, and that was a self-appointed crisis. Coronavirus doesn't even get a junior minister to deal with it. So that's the situation anyway, given the seriousness of the situation. And it was known to be serious at the time, whether believed or not by the Prime Minister. Boris Johnson absolutely should have attended. That he did not is because he personally did not understand the implications of the pandemic, and it's a lack of understanding that I think is going to blight our lives for the next few years. But anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, please also click the Patreon link for details. And until next time, I'll see you later.